Let's see. Dill, are you there?
I am indeed.
Cool. So we've gone live. I'm talking to Britt on the other line. Can you check YouTube to see
Okay.
if we're broadcasting the right things as I
Okay.
drop my earpiece out?
I'm opening
But
Facebook at the moment.
okay, Britt's opening Facebook. Dylan, are you checking?
I'm checking out. Hasn't come up yet.
And I can see you putting your earpiece back on.
Cool, but what does it say? What's the description?
I'm back with Ann Nurock.
Fantastic. So Facebook is correct. Can you potentially check YouTube? Because Dylan says he can't see anything
No,
yet.
YouTube's not right.
YouTube, he says, is not right.
Uh, let's hold on. No, sorry, YouTube is right. YouTube's fine. YouTube's fine.
Oh, he says YouTube is fine. Hold on,
Okay.
let me go on
Yeah.
myself and double check. Okay, perfect. It all looks good to me. Britt, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
No stress at all. Have a good one.
Ciao. Bye. Okay, Dylan.
Okay. We good to go.
Fantastic. And so I'm going to go on audio mute and video mute, and I'll see you back at 6:45. You'll
Cool. I'm going
send
to
out
send
the
out the link and I'm going to bring up a whole screen now.
fantastic. Thank you so much.
See you at, okay, 1:45. Fantastic.
Cheers.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
How are you? I can't see you.
Oh, I mean, we have to, he'll tell you we've got to switch our videos off, but I'll switch it on just to say hello to you.
And good to see you.
Hello.
We were speaking so fondly of you, me and Bev Wynn.
Oh, that's nice. She's divine.
Divine girl, divine girl.
She's absolutely, absolutely wonderful. So how long is she, what is she in New York for?
They were, yeah, she comes and does her annual schmooze fest.
Yeah.
And then they were going to visit friends in the Catskills. Oh, there's Howard. Hi, Howard.
Hi, Howie.
Just to remind you, you can talk as much as you want, but you are being watched and listened to
Oh,
by
so
people all over YouTube, Facebook, Instagram,
So right now
Zoom.
we're saying very nice things about Bev Wynn.
Hey,
So
don't need to just zip it.
Oh,
is,
zip it.
is Bev in the Catskills?
Yes. Oh God, shit! I forgot I gave her location out.
Damn.
Actually, she may be watching this right now.
She
I-
came to my talk at the museum.
Yeah, she's a big fan. Ann. So nice to be here. This is my first such thing, Howie. Go easy on.
Well, Bev, I can tell you that Bev will never forgive me because I dragged her there was a Mandela dinner in honor of, I think it was Francois Mitterrand, the French president. And Mandela was doing a walk around with the president through it was a presidential dinner. And Bev was desperate to have a selfie with Mandela, and I stopped her.
Oh.
And since then, she's had to go to the Catskills to recover.
Oh.
She's-
Right. I mean, Howie, this is Mpume to introduce you to Mpume.
Hey, Mpumi, how's it?
Hey Howard, I'm good. How are you?
Good, fantastic to meet you. I love the glasses.
Thank you. And hi, Ronald. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
So,
Yeah, waiting for
so
Melu.
Melu will be on in about 3 minutes, but that doesn't stop us from having a pre-chat. So, Ronald, we don't know you because you haven't been in the country for a while. Give us a little clue. Tell us exactly who you are.
The funny thing is, I was in the country 2 weeks ago, but I was only there for 4 days in Durban.
We forgive you.
Yeah, but yes, I immigrated in 1994 and I spent 15 or 16 months in Toronto, Canada, and then ran away from there and came to live in New York. And
Your life sounds like hell. I'm sorry.
and I've been in New York ever since with 2 years in Paris, 5 years in London during the whole stint out of South Africa. And I had a global job with Lowe worldwide. So I was working as the creative director on Unilever for 10 years. So that took me all over the world. And now I am back in New York City. I've started my own consultancy with a colleague of mine who we used to run the growth department at IPG and McCann worldwide. And now we're doing this on our own, just like many, many people at our level now. Right now, there's a massive trend toward, smaller agencies, independent agencies, as the holdcos and bigger companies sort of merge and try and find where they belong in this new world. So that's what I'm up to.
And Mpumi, do we see that same trend in South Africa? Are we getting a little frightened of the massive international agencies who have corporatized maybe some of the creativity?
So yes, but we're also seeing quite a lot of small emerging agencies that are coming up, small independent agencies. And what we're also seeing is that clients are actually becoming attracted to them because of the flexibility, being owner-led and that much more elevated responsibility that, an owner has as a business. So yeah, we are seeing the trend. It's frightening, but also there is a big rise of small independents.
Mpume, why don't you tell Howard and Ronald just 2 minutes on Joe Public, because it is an iconic agency. It's a South African agency.
I remember Joe Public. Joe Public's been around a long, long time, right?
Since 1998. That's correct.
That's amazing. Yeah. And it started in Cape Town, is that right?
Yep, in Cape Town on Loop Street,
Yes,
Joe Public Takeaway,
I
where you could
remember.
buy ads on a menu.
Yeah, I remember. It's a fantastic concept back then.
Yeah, they're the most creative agency in the country. They're
That is
unbelievable.
so great to hear that you've gone from strength to strength and you're still at it and so respected. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I think we're one of the very few large independent agencies left. We're pushing very hard. I don't know if you'll remember, Howard, back then, I think Joe Public sold to a conglomerate. When was it? I think it was in 2002, but then they bought themselves back in 2006. So we've been going since then as
That's
independent.
amazing. And who are the big clients of the agency?
So it's Nedbank. It's one of the big four banks in South Africa. We've got AB InBev. We've got
SAB.
SAB, yeah, AB InBev, SAB. Cell C Telecoms. We also have Take a Lot, which is retail, online retail. So we've got quite a nice suite of clients. Santam, which is short-term insurance. So yeah, those are, I think, yeah, our top 5 agencies, or so to speak.
Oh, that's
I'm just
Main
sorry.
brands.
I'm just trying to get my camera in place. Okay, that's a little better. So, Mpumi, when you look at like what happens at Cannes and you compare to the sort of stuff that you see in South Africa, how do you think South Africa does? Honestly, we're going to have an honest chat tonight.
The last 2
Um,
years.
Hey,
The last 2 years.
the last 2 years have not been great for South Africa, which is why I'll be showing one of the pieces that I'll be showing, just to give that backdrop as to what's been happening. But we are, as an industry, really encouraging each other to show up.
Hello, everybody.
Show up at Ken. Hello, Melusi.
Hello,
To show
Melu.
up at Ken. So it hasn't been great, but I think we remain optimistic and positive, Howard. We really do. We do need that for each other.
So Ron, as an outsider, do you still watch our industry and see where we've done well, where we're struggling? Do you have any insights for us?
I see what South Africa's up to at Cannes. So I'm not between Cannes. I'm not that plugged in, and I don't know what's going on in South Africa. But Cannes, I'm very involved. I'm on the WhatsApp South African group, so I get right back into it as South African. I go and meet them in the park for their photograph, and I love the spirit of the South Africans at Cannes. It suddenly becomes like a country-led, not individual agencies, but like this group of people that are all rooting for one another. And that spirit is amazing. It really warms the cockles of my heart to see South Africa.
I just want to jump in and just say here, at Cannes this year, I think there were about 60 South Africans. And as Ron said, there was a WhatsApp group, but everybody said, no matter that we didn't win a lot of awards, when it came to Geers and it came to being together and collaboration and loving each other, there was no country that came close to us. We were unstoppable. We celebrated each other. We laughed with each other. It was just never seen a group of people like this.
I'm going to be the spoke in that wheel, because at high school, my house always came last in everything. And we would always get the consolation prize, the tardiest section, the most spirit. That's nonsense. You actually want to win the...
Yes, we do.
Mhlungu, am I right?
No, that's true. I think also maybe we've lost a little bit of competitiveness, because if that's what we're happy about, the fact that we're all together, we need to be more competitive. And I remember back then, there were so many competitive agencies in South Africa just amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
And so now when there's domination with only a few, maybe the competitiveness is gone. So people don't want to just lose or whatever. They just want to be there. And it's not enough to just be there.
Right.
I want to say, if we all want to be together, we don't have to go to Cannes. We're all together here.
I know that, and I'm not
already.
making it's not an excuse for not winning. We have to win, and it's pretty bad that we're not winning. So Malu's right, but all I'm saying is that despite not winning, we were,
Yes.
and that is it's a consolation prize, but well, it is what it is, and at least we were good.
Yeah, it transcends advertising. It's just this community of people that like to, that are rooting for one another. That feels good to me.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean,
so we go live with our full webinar in about 7 minutes. But in the interim, there are hundreds of people who've already tuned into YouTube, into Facebook, into Zoom, who are already watching us. But Mhlungu, I want to ask you the question, because a lot of people won't know you. And so I want to, you're looking very confused.
Yeah. I was like, who's a lot of people? Because I know you know me. So
No, I'm talking about the other people. I get to have lunch with you regularly, but not everyone watching tonight does. Just by the way, whenever Mhlungu and I have lunch, we arrange to meet at Tasha's. Our first one was as Tasha Santon, not realizing that there were 3 different Tashas in
the wrong
Santon,
one.
and we were sitting waiting for each other at different Tashas. But Mhlungu, the story goes that Robbie Brosen goes to Brett Morris and says, tell me, who's the most creative South African in the ad industry? And Brett says, the most creative South African is not in South Africa. He's in New York. Go meet him. What on earth were you doing in New York, and why are you back?
So at that point, I'd left South Africa for about probably 6-7 years. So I'd moved from Miami to Chicago, and then eventually I ended up in New York. But also just to follow this advertising dream. I'm a huge advertising nerd. Once again, the competitiveness. I really just want to be the best in the world, and I wanted to go out there to the world and be a sponge. And my hope and dream was always to come back home, and when you're a sponge, you do this to the industry, right? And so that's why I left. And also part of coming back is exactly that, right? So part of coming back was to say, what have I learned along this journey, and how can I bring it back home to my peers, to my communities, to my country? And so I opened up my own agency, but also at the same time, we started a movement called Josie My Josie, which for me is about creativity for good. How do we use what we know from an advertising space, from a branding space, both myself and Robbie, to create a brand that can actually galvanize a lot of individuals, whether corporates or individuals, to do better when it comes to doing good for our communities and our city, and especially our city. I think our city needs a lot of work. Our city needs hope. And more than anything, our city needs ideas and inspiration. And that's why I came back home.
So Mpume, I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but when I was a little younger, the Cannes Lion Awards were shown at the Ster-Kinekor Theatres opposite the Colton Centre.
oh my
And
God.
I used to take a bus through to the Colton Centre, and every single year, it was always in December, and it was usually my treat on the last day of the school year to go watch. They would show like an hour of ads. And for me, it was one of the most fun moments of the year, that because advertising for me was entertainment. And to be able to watch that creativity. Are you too young to remember that? I think Ronald may remember it.
I remember that.
But the irony, Howie, is that Ster-Kinekor still are the South African sponsors of
I
Cannes.
was going to say that.
So it's been as long as that. They used to show all the ads then. Now I represent them with the trends, them and biz community. So they still sponsor. They represent South Africa. They sponsor Cannes for South Africa.
I never thought I'd say I'm too young to remember anything.
This is the platform,
Look,
Mpume. This is the platform.
I have a second confession, Mpume, and that may be, in those days, they may not have let you into the theatre.
Oh my God.
That's a
Oh my God, no, I was not born, let me tell you. But yeah, we still showcase. Steak in a Coastal is one of the sponsors, like Ann said. And they do host an annual event. There was one last month. Yeah, so it's still going. It's not in town.
Howie was there at the one at
Oh,
Voda.
yes, it's in Midrand. It's not in the city anymore.
Yeah, I risked my life by going to Midrand. No one ever said that.
Do you think it's true? Do you think it's true to say that South Africans particularly really loved advertising as an entertainment form, like more
Yeah.
than most? I mean, there was, I've not encountered that kind of interest in advertising elsewhere in the world, where cinemas show the reels and
Yes.
I think South Africa's like ingrained in the culture somehow.
Yeah, I think Ronald, for me, the reason why I got into advertising was a telecom ad, Molo Mhlobo Wami, the best ad I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever those guys are doing, I don't know what it is, I don't know what it's called, but I want to do that thing. And
Right.
hopefully I get paid.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go live shortly, but I see we joined from people all over the world. And Bev says she loved going to Ster-Kinekor to watch the long adverts. And hi, Ronald, this is Bev from San Diego, but from Benoni Hillel. Great to hear.
I remember Bev and Debbie Mayer, I see is here too. This is great. I love this, like a reunion of all my old.
you know,
I'm doing this with you every week, Howard.
We have big and we have small webinars, and a small one is a few thousand people watching, and a big one, some have had 1 million people watching. But whatever it is, it just feels like a little village where people actually catch up. And we love the fact that it's all interactive, and you'll see tonight people will comment and ask questions. The one thing that's quite interesting is that we started this off only on Zoom, and now more and more people have moved across to YouTube because they screen it on their big TVs and they watch as a family together. And the people on Zoom are very interactive with us, and the people on YouTube are spectators and watch.
Amazing.
So although we have a much larger audience on YouTube, we love our Zoom audience because they talk to us the whole time. As Bern in Cape Town says, hi from Cape Town. And so with that, the time has just gone 7 p.m. South Africa time, and a huge welcome to everyone around the world, whether you're watching us on Zoom, whether you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. It's a great privilege this evening to be joined by a very illustrious panel of some of the greatest creative minds that have ever come out of South Africa. So a big welcome to all of you. On controls tonight is Dylan Berger. Hello, Dylan. How are you doing?
Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
This is my highlight of the year. I love this webinar. It's really it's a special treat every year.
Hi, Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Melusi, that advert you just spoke about from Telkom, unreal. I can't wait to YouTube it afterwards.
So Dylan, let's kick off and let's see what's on the front cover of the Jewish Report this week. The latest edition is out. If you haven't picked up your copy of it, strongly suggest you either go pick up a hard copy or go have a look at it online. And Dylan is busy sharing his screen. We hope it will come up any moment now. But if you have picked up your hard copy or still want to, the front page of the Jewish Report this week is about the SABC silencing one of its journalists who dared to actually ask a legitimate question to a guest. So apparently journalism is dead at the SABC, but I think many of us have realized that for quite a long time. We suggest you read that story and the entire edition. You can pick up a hard copy at your local Dis-Chem or Checkers or ShopRite or kosher store or local school or butchery. They're in about 242 locations around the country. Please go pick up a hard copy edition, or if you'd prefer to read it online, don't forget that everything we do is on the Jewish Report website. That's sajr.co.za. You can either download the full edition, or alternatively, you can look at each individual story. What was quite a milestone for us, We had 220,000 unique views on our website last month. We also had more than 1 million people hitting us on social media. And of course, our email database goes out to close to 1 million emails per month at the moment. So it just understands the amazing reach that we as a small community have in South Africa and very much around the world. Don't forget, our webinars are all available. They're all recorded every week. The same questions, or each time the same questions are answered. Where can I get a copy of? Well, the answer is you can either go onto the Jewish Report website page and click on the webinar banners, or on our YouTube channel. Everything is there. Of the 186 we've now done and been watched in excess of 6 million times, you can probably get about 183 of them available. The ones that are not available are the ones which had copyright issues because we're discussing music and YouTube blocked those. So you can go and see any of our editions there. Also, if you go onto our website and you decide to download the full edition, we want to tell you that there are 2 versions. There's an A4 edition, which if you want to print, you can print at home, or alternatively, there's the broadside sheet edition, which is our print edition, but you can actually download either of them. So if you want to download and print, go for the A4. If not, just go for the standard edition. And very importantly, we are in full swing for the Jewish Achiever Awards 2025. This year's Jewish Achiever Awards, the theme is Mzansi Strong. And you have one last chance to nominate people for the Jewish Achiever Awards. We're delighted that we've brought on as our main sponsor this year Investec, and we're so happy to have Investec on as our main sponsor this year. Our other sponsors are, of course, the Ellerin Foundation, the Ichakovitz Family Foundation, the Lubner Family Foundation, Europcar, and Man-Made Media. And we have another sponsor who called last week, desperate to get in as well. But you've got one last week, in fact, till Friday, 6 p.m. to nominate people for the Jewish Achiever Awards. And we're going to give you a bit.ly link, which I'm going to ask Dylan to post into the chat shortly. The bit.ly link is bit.ly/JAA, obviously Jewish Achiever Awards, 25 NOM. Let me repeat that, bit.ly/JAA 25 NOM. And Dylan will post that into the chat on YouTube, Facebook, and here as well on Zoom. So if you haven't nominated anyone, please do so before Friday. We are absolutely strict. I know at 6:05, my phone is going to start running with people telling me they meant to, they forgot, they did, but they haven't. It's not going to work. So please, everyone, go do your nominations for Jewish Achiever Awards. This year, Mhlungu, you were, I think, there last year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I was there last year.
It was
Fantastic event. Yeah, it was a lovely event.
Look forward to hosting you there again. And with that, Ann Nurock, is this our number 4 that we've done together?
I was actually thinking about it. It is the 4th.
So,
it is the 4th. I've been doing this for 9 years, but I've been doing it with you. This is the 4th year.
So explain to those people who don't follow this, other than a place in the south of France, what are these Cannes Lions Awards?
Okay, so on the 3rd week of June, every year, 17,000 people come to Cannes, and they're basically coming to look at the best of creativity. It can be TV, digital, print, PR, innovation. They come to have a look at who has won and what are the trends. So besides the awards, there are over 200 speakers. Anyone who's at the forefront of culture. It can be people from like Anna Wintour to Mark Zuckerberg to presidents, prime ministers, and they all talk about how creativity has impacted their lives. My role is on behalf of the Creative Circle of South Africa, Biz Community and Stuart Kennecore. I go to Cannes to pick up the trends and bring them back and present them around the country. So that is Cannes.
So what we're going to be doing tonight is Anne is going to present the latest trends to us. We're going to open it up to our panel of experts as well to talk about the trends as they see and perceive it. And what's then going to happen is we've asked everyone just to present 1 or 2 pieces of creative work, either something they've done themselves or someone something that they've seen that they absolutely loved. And we're going to talk about creativity and the latest trends in marketing. And there are also two things that are going to come out of your presentations that we're going to fight and argue over. Everyone is worried about this thing called artificial intelligence. So we need to actually understand how that's going to affect the entire creative industry. And then who do we trust? Who are our trusted sources that can sell us things? And you're going to start by answering both of those questions in your opening presentation. So I'm going to ask everyone else to turn off their cameras.
Share. Let me just get my presentation.
Okay, everyone else will go on mute and open their cameras, and we'll come back with you as soon as your presentation is over.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Absolutely.
Okay, so firstly, thank you very much for having me back, and thank you to my fabulous panel for giving up their Sunday night. So as Howard said, regarding AI, there was a lot of anxiety and angst at Cannes this year. AI was spoken about on the stage, off the stage, on the Quasset, off the Quasset. Wherever you went, it was AI. And obviously creative people are concerned. They are concerned. Is AI going to take my job? And how creative can AI become? So the festival was opened by a man called Tor Myron, who is the VP of Marketing for Apple. He won the award for the Creative Marketer of the Year, and he's the best marketer in the world. And Tor came onto the stage in front of 7,000 people, and he said to the ad industry, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is AI is not going to kill advertising. The bad news is it's not going to save it. What we've got to do is save ourselves. And he believes that we can do this by believing in what has always made this industry so special, and that is human creativity. So he believes that the human touch is our superpower. Now, I've got to be honest with you. I mean, he was absolutely adamant in terms of the power of AI. He said that it is the most, we will never see anything like this in our lifetime. It's the most influential and the biggest thing that will happen to creativity. But he still believes that the human touch is the secret to building long-term brand love. And this was actually said as well by Unilever. So, we're talking about massive companies here. So this is not me saying any of this. This is what I am saying, reporting that the biggest marketers in the world were saying. And the interesting thing this year was that not one of the Grand Prix or gold winners at Cannes used AI. So what the judges were looking for were ideas that are culturally relevant, do good for society, are crafted well, and that's why the ads I'm going to show you tonight, not one of them has AI. So the bottom line is that nobody really knows what's going to happen. I mean, millions of jobs are going to be lost to AI. But I do believe, and the marketers at Cannes do believe, that you still have to have human emotion in order to create disruption. So for me, the title of this webinar should not be humans versus machines. It should be humans and machines. So the first piece of work I'm going to show you won more awards than any other. It won the Titanium, which is the overall, the biggest winner. And I just want you to, it's a magnificent piece of work. And the point that I want to make here is that no matter what happens with AI couldn't have come up with this idea, and they couldn't have executed like Exa did.
Man accused of killing his wife in their own home.
Woman found murdered by her partner at home. 26-year-old woman was killed by her husband inside her home.
Everyone always asks, why does she stay? Why would anyone stay with a man who beats her?
I stayed because I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have any money. I didn't have access to any resources.
AXA, the leading insurance company in France,
changes its home insurance policies. In France, home insurance is mandatory by law and already provides emergency relocation when a home becomes uninhabitable in the event of fire or flood. AXA adds these 3 words: and domestic violence. 3 words to help women escape.
Comme le montre la publicité, cet assureur garantit désormais à ses clients victimes de violences conjugales un relogement d'urgence.
La compagnie AXA lance une assurance pour les femmes victimes de violences. Une nouvelle garantie permettant aux femmes victimes de violences conjugales d'être relogées. Le relogement, c'est l'une des...
Est-ce que vous vous rendez compte à quel point ça pourrait aider les femmes qui sont dans ce genre de situation?
Ça, j'aurais vraiment aimé l'avoir il y a une vingtaine d'années quand j'en avais besoin.
When a woman calls the emergency number, she's immediately relocated. A driver picks her up and takes her to a safe shelter together with any children. She also receives free psychological, legal, and financial support to help her find long-term solutions.
Cette garantie est accessible à toutes les femmes sans payer plus.
Même si le contrat n'est pas à mon nom.
Même si le contrat n'est pas à votre nom, absolument.
This clause has been included in all 2.5 million AXA home contracts, with retroactive effect.
Ce relogement, ça a été vraiment un sas de décompression parce qu'on respire, on arrive à revivre.
I think that's amazing. And, you know, when people say creativity can change lives, I think that is a really good example of what it can do. So the second campaign is adorable. It's for the Indian Railways, won loads of awards.
Welcome to the Indian Railways, my friends. The busiest public transit system in the world. Home to 24 million travelers every day.
It's too much people. We don't even have turnstiles. How can you check everyone?
And guess what? 41% of them don't pay for tickets.
That's a big financial problem for us.
But Indians blow $33 billion on tickets of another kind. Lottery tickets. Indian Railways presents Lucky Yatra, turning every train ticket into a lottery ticket. For 100 years, each Indian Railways ticket has carried a unique sale number. By simply pulling a winning ticket number from the tickets sold each day, we introduced a new reason to pay. Giving daily and weekly prizes, matching the exact amount of the traditional daily lottery. The lottery was brought to 24 train stations across India.
There's a chance to win money every day. It's exciting.
Now I keep my ticket safe.
Anybody can get lucky. What if my ticket wins? You never know.
With $1.4 million in prizes, generating $685 million in train ticket sales. Invested back into the railways to improve the system for all passengers. Forever changing the world's biggest railway system.
Sorry, guys, Howard's just told me you can't hear the music. So I'm just going to stop sharing. So Howard, just help me here. So if I go back to share, I can't hear you.
If you click share again,
yeah.
Before you click on what you want to share, it should give you the option to share sound and also optimize video. Click both of those. And I think it's really worthwhile just to show that last one again, because it's such a spectacular concept. And I think it does lose something without the music.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to show, just please God at work.
Welcome to the Indian Railways, my friends. The busiest public transit system in the world. Home to 24 million travelers every day.
It's too much people. We don't even have turnstiles. How can you check everyone?
And guess what? 41% of them don't pay for tickets.
That's a big financial problem for us.
But Indians blow $33 billion on tickets of another kind. Lottery tickets. Indian Railways presents Lucky Yatra, turning every train ticket into a lottery ticket. For 100 years, each Indian Railways ticket has carried a unique sale number. By simply pulling a winning ticket number from the tickets sold each day, we introduced a new reason to pay, giving daily and weekly prizes, matching the exact amount of the traditional daily lottery. The lottery was brought to 24 train stations across India.
There's a chance to win money every day. It's exciting.
Now I keep my ticket safe.
Anybody can get elected. What if my ticket wins? You never know.
With $1.4 million in prizes, generating $685 million in train ticket sales, invested back into the railways to improve the system for all passengers. Forever changing the world's biggest railway system.
I love that. Okay, Mark Pritchard is the Global Marketing Director for Procter & Gamble, one of the biggest companies in the world. And he came onto the stage and he said, which is a stat that we kind of know, 84% of purchase decisions. And I know that not everyone in this webinar are in advertising or marketing, but I think anybody who has a business needs to take heed of some of these trends and what I'm going to say, because I think it applies across the board. So he said that 84% of purchase decisions are made before a customer comes into the bank. Into the store. And therefore, you have to build the memory bank. And to build the memory bank, you need to do brand building. And he emphasized the importance, and again, for people who are in business and do any form of marketing or advertising, the importance of repetition and consistency in order to make something wear in with consumers. So everybody always talks about the wear out and changing things, marketing and advertising, so often. But he's saying, consider the wear in, because the key is encouraging people to feel and ultimately to take actions like buying. So he also spoke about the fall in love with the craft of advertising. This is the importance of creative people. So I used to run an agency. I wasn't on the creative side, but my heart is with the creative people because I just think creativity is so important. And the best creativity really comes from strong relationships. And brands should view creative teams as partners who can extract deep human insights and transform them into memorable campaign ideas. So my day job is I analyze the health of relationships between clients and agencies around the world. So I interact with 30 corporates around the world and over 300 agencies. And I can tell you now that the best work comes from the clients and agencies who have the best relationship. And a marketer has to create an environment where magic can happen. And that happens through collaboration. The other thing is, it may seem easy not to take risks in marketing, but not taking a risk is the biggest risk of all, because risk-taking brands generally generate 4 times higher profit margins, and brands with a high appetite for risk are 33% more likely to see long-term revenue growth, and that stat comes from Deloitte. Now, I'm going to show you a campaign that is so risk-taking, but it is so fabulous. And this is for links.
Never use Axe body spray.
Yes.
Recently?
Not recently. It would irritate my testicles, so I stopped.
Wait, you put it on your balls?
I thought that's what you did.
Turns out, guys want to smell good everywhere. So Lynx created a fragrance for down there. To get them to try it, we leaned into men's most natural instinct. The result? The scratch and sniff billboard. Printed with a special ink that releases fragrance when scratched, we gave vintage scratch and sniff technology a supersized comeback, turning the streets into an interactive sampling experience. And even if it looked weird, suddenly people started to feel the itch. But we were just scratching the surface. The campaign launched Lynx Lower Body Spray, lifting sales by 300% in the first week, projected to sell 420,000 units in year one alone. That's about 840,000 testicles, right there. We used the most traditional media in the most untraditional way, turning attention into action, one scratch at a time.
I love that. I think that's very, very good. Okay. So I think after humanity, which everybody kind of felt was the main theme at Cannes this year, the other one, which some people actually may say was the biggest theme, was the creator economy. They flew hundreds of creators and influencers into Cannes. These are young people who do content creation. And this was a stat given by WPP Media that 180 billion there's going to be 180 billion in revenue by the end of this year on the creator economy. The other thing a stat that reverberated around Cannes has had massive implications is the CEO of Unilever, again, one of the biggest companies in the world, one of the biggest spenders in the world. What he said is that Unilever are going to spend they're going to put 50% of their media spend on content creation. I mean, that is massive. Another agency called Publicis bought an influencer agency. So what Unilever have done is they've actually got an army of content creators that they have hired. And this is where they are spending their money. I mean, even Estee Lauder are spending 75% of their media budget on content creators or influencers. They interchange the words. There was an article in one of the global industry magazines last week. They said ever since Unilever spoke about putting 50% of their media spend into content creators, a lot of the content creators have increased their prices by 30%. So again, this was another endorsement by YouTube. And this is the part that, for me, is the most important. And I think this is also the part that Howard was referring to in terms of why is this working? The main reason why is that these people talk to particularly Gen Z, who are impossible to reach in terms of marketing. They talk to them like humans. These ads, these content creation ads, spotlight real people and real stories. And there was a very interesting article that I read yesterday on LinkedIn that was talking about, and we saw this at Cannes, none of these content creators or influencers are big celebrities. And in fact, a lot of them have less than 50,000 followers. But the fact of the matter is that they are authentic. And that is why Gen Z, who hate advertising, and marketers really struggle to get to them. Now 60% of them say that they will watch creators work. They know these people are getting paid, but they don't care because they see them as real people telling real stories. So a lady from TikTok actually said, in what feels like a gold rush, because it is like a gold rush, brands need to move fast. Because particularly in a world where so many of the people hate advertising, these content creators and influencers are so relevant. So what they did was spoke about how do you create a sustainable influencer marketing strategy. So people on this watching this webinar, again, if you are using influencers, if you're using content creation for any business you're in, these are the things that you need to remember. You need to build a community, not just content. So during the pandemic, creators evolved from mere content creators to building communities. And obviously, you've got to select influencers who are genuinely engaged and connect with your target audience. Now, this stat was really fascinating. It was corroborated by AB InBev, SAB, who I was lucky enough that they invited me to their Cannes wrap-up. And they spoke about this as well. And I did a presentation to Red Bull 2 days ago, and they corroborated this as well. Basically, only 14% of creator ads are watched past the first 3 seconds. Therefore, you have to put your brand up in the first 3 seconds of an influencer or content creator ads. 53% of brands currently don't do this, and they're wasting money. So this is counterintuitive to what marketers do on television, where they don't want the brand there all the time. But in terms of content creation and influence, the brand needs to be there in the first 3 seconds. The other thing is, obviously, you've got to allocate a media budget, but you've got to be very careful. Whose profile are you building? The brands or the influencers? And then you've got to treat these people as a dependable source, and you've got to build long-term relationships with them, because this is kind of your new medium, and you need to have, as I say, long-term relationships with these people. I'm going to show you an ad now that won 3 Grand Prix. It was a collaboration for Ogilvy, Johannesburg and Singapore, and it won so many. But the thing for me that is just so incredible is that they've taken an old, unsexy brand like Vaseline, and look what they've done in terms of getting sales increases.
Just rub a bit of Vaseline on it and it will last all week.
Use Vaseline for your dog's dry nose.
By adding Vaseline to my cuticles before painting, this prevents it from getting on my skin.
I want to see if eating Vaseline helps with my skin.
TikTok has become one of the most alarming in terms of setting trends that are unsafe.
Filtering out the good advice to some dangerous recommendations can be tricky.
For the first time, our scientists tested viral hacks in the lab. Hacks that worked were officially verified, and dangerous ones were unverified.
I made a video showing a hack of how I look after my beard using Vaseline. Vaseline said, okay, let's test it out. And they took it to the lab, and it works. I'm verified.
We're taking this to the lab. We're getting scientists involved.
I made a silly video showing this hack years ago, and now it's been officially verified and turned into a brand film.
My Band-Aid hack has been verified.
The official trophy box from the team at Vaseline. Thank you very much to Vaseline for making my hack verified.
This may be my proudest award yet.
Get your cuticle care.
Buy your leather revivers.
Click on my shop.
My Vaseline runner's hack.
I'm officially a Vaseline dealer.
It's Doritos Extra Flaming Hot, spreading a thin layer of Vaseline, providing a protective barrier between your lips and the spice.
You take a little bit of Vaseline jelly and rub it in a non-uniform way around your lens. And presto, the ultimate Hollywood classic photo hack.
Verify my hack. Vaseline, verify that right now.
Do you know what 43% increase in sales looks like in money for Vaseline? It's quite an amazing campaign. I spoke earlier about where Mark Pritchard spoke about consistency and brand wearing, but there's a man called Professor Mark Ritson from Australia, and he spoke about consistency in any brand message versus fragmentation. And he gave some interesting stats, like consistent brands are twice as likely to report profit. And then these about distinctive emotional ads, what they achieve. And then he spoke about, there is a risk right now with all these content creator ads and influencer ads that brands are not going to stick and have consistency because they are changing based on these influencer ads. So what does a brand do? They've got to develop at a creative level a campaign as a system of ideas, big platforms that can enable imaginative repetition. So a big strategic campaign that you can repeat in different ways. Then this was spoken about as well, and you have to then support that by lots of littles. So you have your overarching brand campaign and then lots of littles, making sure that your brands appear in the right consumer niches. That's also where you get your content creators. And then, how can you be consistent? So they spoke about, there were 3 ways. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly because I'd like you rather to see the work. There's the Creative Foundation. That's consistent positioning. You should always have consistent positioning. The other thing is they spoke about agency tenure. It's been proven time and time again that marketers who stay with agencies for longer times get better work. So clients who try and change their agencies every 3 years are not going to get the best work. You need to have either that or a culture of consistency. This is regarding integrated communications. And then there's consistent execution. And that is where you keep seeing the same brand assets, not the same ad, but the same brand assets that keep, or same music that keep the consistency. So I'm going to show you now the campaign that won the Glass Lion. And the Glass Lion is for any campaign that really influences or changes the way a certain demographic feels. This brand has had the same positioning for 20 years. They've had the same purpose for 20 years, and they have built the most remarkable business. So here is Dove.
So when I first heard about Dove, I thought to myself, I think I'll try it. And I did.
How did a humble soap company drive social change to become the world's biggest platform for self-esteem? Okay, let's rewind. It's 2004. A Dove study found that only 2% of women saw themselves as beautiful. Beauty had become narrow and unattainable. Enter the Campaign for Real Beauty, a fight to make beauty a source of confidence, not anxiety.
I just have to hand it to the Dove people. I think it's such a bold campaign.
Then, Dove went on to challenge the entire beauty industry and created the world's first viral video. Inclusivity became part of the brand's DNA. The Dove Self-Esteem Project was born. Today, it's the world's largest self-esteem education provider. Dove kept challenging and expanding beauty norms. We even challenged women's own definition of beauty.
I've come a long way in how I see myself.
Dove took action, fighting for communities and for those who fight for us. Dove fought for change in legislation.
The legislation is called the Crown Act.
That would make it illegal to discriminate against
Natural hair.
Passing laws in 27 states and counting. Dove took on damaging filters and toxic influencers and fought for a world where everyone can see themselves. Along the journey, a humble soap bar drove social change and transformed into a $7.5 billion platform. The world's most inclusive brand as voted by women in 2024, and into an unwavering ally to help our future generations find confidence in their real beauty.
and they've had the same advertising agency for over 20 years. The next one is also quite good, I mean, actually very good with consistency. Last year, they won a Grand Prix for Out of Home, and they had a similar purpose to what they have now, but just a different type of execution. So here is Pedigree.
This isn't just any old dog. It's a caramelo, Brazil's favorite dog. The star of memes, videos, songs, even a petition to feature it on our money. Despite all that, Brazil's most popular breed isn't officially a breed. The caramelo is considered a vira-lata, a mutt. That's why it's by far the most common dog in Brazilian shelters, a lot less likely to be adopted than purebreds. So, if what they lack is a pedigree, who better to give it to them than Pedigree? Introducing Pedigree Caramelo, an initiative to give caramelos everything the so-called purebreds have. We started by asking a Brazilian superstar to enter her caramelo in a dog show. We knew her dog would be rejected, and that her outrage would break into the culture. And of course, it did. That's when Pedigree joined in, officially launching the project and everything we were about to do for the caramelos. Like the biggest canine genetic research on a mutt in history, diving deep into the caramelo's DNA. The first official caramelo kennel club, issuing DNA-based pedigree certificates. Also the biggest kennel club in Latin America. Then the Caramelo Show, a dog show dedicated to caramelos, with a huge adoption fair for now certified pedigree caramelos. And our new packaging featuring for the first time ever a mixed breed dog. The response was overwhelming. Not only did people side with us, but also the world's largest purebred dog organization, the FCI, which announced that from now on, caramelos would be allowed in their shows. And that's not all. We turned the most common mutt into the most adopted breed in Brazil.
So this is really transforming not only the way people will see caramelos in Brazil, but also the way we approach brand building for pedigree in Brazil and all over the world.
And that's how we became Pedigree, the official food of the caramelo.
So gorgeous. So this next campaign has got nothing to do with any of the trends I've mentioned or anything. It's just, I love it for what it is.
Changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name.
Big change for anyone who uses Google Maps here in the U.S. The Gulf of Mexico has been renamed the Gulf of America. Wow. I know.
Breaking news, Google has now updated all their maps from Gulf of Mexico to
on Google Maps now. Gulf of America. I seriously couldn't.
Wait, what? What? Gulf of Mexico? It's a business pin? Who did this?
Para cantar la bamba se necesita una poca de gracia. Una poca de gracia y otra cosita. Y arriba y arriba. Arribita. Arriba y arriba y arriba iré. Yo no soy marinero. Yo no soy marinero, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré.
En la bamba, señores, por ti seré, por ti seré.
Hoy les canto la bamba. Hoy les canto la bamba con sentimiento, melodía que naciera.
Heineken México habla del Golfo que el presidente Donald Trump ya renombró a Golfo de América.
Allá arriba, allá arriba, allá arriba iré, yo no soy marinero. Yo no soy marinero, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré.
Cuando canto la bamba, me siento... A propósito del Golfo.
Estamos en el Golfo de México y hay que decir las cosas como son. Es el Golfo de México, de México.
Cuando canto la bamba me siento ufano porque sé que es el himno, veracruzano. Arriba y arriba, arriba y arriba y arriba iré. Yo no soy marinero, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré. Una vez que te dije,
ay arriba y arriba y arriba iré. Yo no soy marinero, por ti seré, por ti seré.
Make cerveza great again. Que se vaya a chingar su madre, Trump.
Amen to that. Okay, So this was presented by a man called Fernando Machado, who used to be the marketing director of Burger King, and Burger King used to win every single award going. And then he left and things aren't, the creativity is not as good as it used to be. But he's a marketer, and he came onto stage to talk about the 7 deadly sins of marketing. So again, with the audience that is here, I think you can apply these deadly sins to any supplier you work with. It's just, I think there's some very good insights here for any situation in business. First of all, the first one is vanity. This is when you think you know better than anyone else. The temptation of a new broom coming into a company, wanting to sweep clean the brand's heritage in marketing, changing the agency. Respect your brand's heritage. Secondly, there's sloth. And this is when you delegate everything, decisions, to research. So there is nothing wrong with research, but you've got to fight for bold ideas. And you can't just lean back on research, because he said sometimes marketers are actually covering their asses by doing that. Then there's gluttony. I won't spend too much time when you expand the brand too much, neglect the core. Greed. This is when you aim for immediate return on investment. I want the money, I want the profit, and I want it now. And this is where the importance of brand building comes in, and building the memory bank. So we call this short-termism. So performance marketing and short-termism is necessary, but it cannot be at the expense of brand building. And then envy is when you ask somebody or an agency to do something like another brand. So it's really lazy. And pride, when you, this is interesting, when you're working with the best people. So you've hired an agency, you have A-grade creative people, and you have A-grade directors when you're making commercials. Leave them alone. Let them get on with their work. That's why you're paying them. And then the one that really gets to me, particularly because relationships have never, ever been as important as they are now in a world of AI. And so marketers need to be hard on the work, but kind on the people. Because bashing creative people is not going to work. In fact, bashing any supplier is not going to work. People operate best when they're motivated and they're inspired. So now I'm going to show you, so Mpume and I were saying earlier, South Africa didn't have its best year at Cannes. Mpume is going to show you an award that Joe Public won a bit later, but this is a gold that we won. And this was a collaboration between South Africa and Thailand. And it was a new agency called Bananas working with KFC. This is a very polarizing campaign. It's something that I love. Not everybody will, but have a look. You'll never forget it at Eat Cake.
One girl CCP ต้องจัดเค้กฉลอง
เธอถ้าทุกอย่างกลายเป็นเค้กคงตลกดีเนาะ เธอทุกอย่างเป็นเค้กไปหมดแล้วอ่ะโอ้ยเขาก็เป็นต้องจัดเค้กฉลองไม่ต้องห่วงเขาไปเลยหวานแต่ว่าไปเลยโอ้ย
อย่าลืมวิ่งแซมเขานะ
สถานการณ์ตอนนี้มันเละเป็นเค้กไปหมดแล้วครับท่านผู้ชม
ทุกอย่างกลายเป็นเค้กไปหมดแล้ว ไม่ใช่ทุกอย่าง ไก่จริงๆ
จะฉลองทั้งทีต้องไก่ KFC
So the marketing director from KFC was at Cannes with us, and he was just talking about how effective this ad was. It was hugely risky, but it worked. The business results were truly wonderful. So this is a campaign that I adore because it didn't have a big budget. Have a look at IKEA.
People know IKEA for its meatballs and for Billy bookcases, but for mattresses, not so much. In North America, some people don't even know we sell mattresses. So to remind people that you can get a great sleep on an IKEA mattress, we needed to target people who couldn't sleep. But we couldn't just make another ad. So in the middle of the night, we slid into their DMs with just 2 words. By the way, you up means more than just you up.
It's when someone texts you late at night because they're looking for the goods.
They want to sleep with you.
And that's kind of like the booty call thing.
Yep, it's a booty call, and we sent it to 3 million people. And when they replied, we gave them a mattress discount.
IKEA just slid into people's DMs in the middle of the night and their stores got flooded with customers.
It was a stampede.
Like, imagine getting that from IKEA.
That's
so smart.
Super smart.
This is a brand that knows how to be discerningly cheeky.
So cheeky. We even sent you up messages in real life by putting billboards next to apartments in the middle of the night. We turned DMs into a brand new medium all over the world, from Canada to Norway to Poland.
IKEA is not just selling a mattress here, they're also connecting their brand to a real everyday problem.
IKEA reached out to the customers. That's next level, and it builds connection.
Very, very connected. Then something crazy happened. We started the first ever mattress war.
Now we have the mattress wars.
I love this. The number 1 mattress seller responded. Then the number 2 mattress store responded. And then Durex slid into our DMs. And PR did. But we didn't reply. We were too busy selling mattresses to people who didn't know we sold mattresses. Advertising works. Go to sleep.
Absolutely brilliant. So I'm sure a lot of you, most of you, watch Succession. So you'll recognize the lead actor in this campaign. But the reason why I love it as much as I do is that the brand is featured throughout the ad, the campaign, and also the proposition, the brand proposition comes across so well. So have a look at Uber Eats.
Sir, parents are over there.
Good. Mine are dead. Cox, freshman.
Oh, this is your ID. It's also your room card.
Yeah,
Okay.
School's good. My roommate, my roommate is Brian Cox.
You, out.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is my room.
No!
So he's intense. I don't think he's really here for the college experience.
My name's Alex, and I'm doing a double major in art history and political science.
You'll make a great barista one day.
Okay, who'd like to go next?
I actually think he's just here for the access to Uber One for students.
My name is Brian. My interests are food and saving money on food.
And Brian, what are you majoring in?
What is this? 20 fucking questions?
Okay.
Is Brian popular? Less than you'd think.
Does anyone have thoughts on last week's reading? Oh, Mr. Cox.
Not you. Him.
Top man. He really loves those discounts. That I know. Discounts on smoothies.
Out of my way, pigeons.
Discounts on rides. He kicks me out a lot. Can I just get my phone? Yeah, really, I love Brian. I just don't... It's hard to live with anybody. Really?
Oh, give it a rest. It's free. It's Tuesday.
Do you want to play? But he's really coming around.
I didn't know Uber had senior discounts.
I'm a freshman. Dumbass.
He's a good guy. Is he gonna see this?
So what I'm going to show you now is my favorite campaign from Cannes.
Yes, it's expensive, but I'm worth it.
And I'm worth it. I'm worth it.
Because I'm worth it. I wrote that.
The new documentary short titled The Final Copy of Elon Specht, who coined L'Oreal's iconic Because I'm Worth It slogan.
In the 60s, the ads were often made from a male point of view. We were given an assignment. L'Oreal, they wanted a campaign. The agency insisted on a male voiceover.
She uses the most expensive hair color in the world, preferenced by L'Oreal.
It was wrong.
Misogyny is 2025's biggest trend.
Kind of masculine energy, I think, is good.
I was feeling angry. I'm not interested in writing anything about looking good for men. Fuck them.
Actually, I don't mind spending more for L'Oreal because I'm worth it.
It's a 4-word feminist manifesto. She wrote the most influential tagline in women's beauty advertising.
She's such an iconic, I mean, the word is overused, but in this case applies.
Before watching this beautiful film, I didn't actually know very much about the feminist origins of the slogan.
I'm not interested in advertising. I don't give a shit. It's about humans. It's about caring for people because we're all worth it or no one is worth it.
So I'm coming to the end of the presentation and I want to talk to you about LVMH. So LVMH's global brand officer came onto the stage. She was actually the jury president of the luxury category. So every year at Cannes they have a luxury, it's pretty new, luxury category. Last year Loewe won it, and this year LVMH won it. And she spoke about what LVMH do with all their marketing. And basically at the heart of everything is creativity. They want to give consumers unforgettable experiences. Remember, this is a company that has 70 brands. So going from Louis Vuitton to Sephora to Dior, there are a lot of brands that they have to focus on. But what they always want to do is surprise and delight their customers. And they talk about the 4 C's of marketing for them: craft. Everything has to be exceptional. They design an iconic product. They use the best materials with the utmost attention to detail. Again, in a world of AI, this is it's so needed to see great craft by real people. Secondly, as I said, the customers who they want to excite and delight. Creativity is at the heart of everything, and they have to be at the center, at the forefront of culture. So this is the final campaign I'm going to show you. This won the Grand Prix for LVMH, and have a look at what they did for the Olympic Games, where they changed sports marketing forever.
Olympic Games, the most watched sports competition, is also the most ad-regulated event. According to the Olympic Games rules, Advertising is not allowed in competition areas, making sponsors invisible in broadcasts. Unthinkable for LVMH. So when we became a Paris 24 partner, we went beyond advertising to become a creative partner. We crafted the games to embody our group's mission, the art of crafting dreams, showing the world what our partnership claim, artisans of all victories, meant. This is the partnership that changed everything. LVMH changed what a sponsor could achieve by introducing a new co-producer status. We changed every ceremony. Dior dressed the artists for their performances with haute couture creations. Berluti outfitted every French athlete with tailor-made suits. Louis Vuitton reinterpreted its iconic trunks to hold the medals and integrated them in a dedicated sequence during the broadcast. We changed the celebration of each victory. Chaumet crafted the medals like a jewel and set fragments of the Eiffel Tower in their center. And Louis Vuitton delivered them to every athlete on a unique signature tray. LVMH changed the games into a stage for performance, creativity, and elegance.
LVMH, a premium sponsor of the Olympics. It's the first deal of its kind for a luxury brand, and the empire of LVMH is truly everywhere here.
This was not product placement. This was not sponsoring. This was LVMH crafting the games and changing sports sponsorship forever.
And then when you think you'd seen it all from LVMH, anybody who's been to New York lately will know that this is their flagship store on Fifth Avenue, and they're renovating it. So they've moved to a temporary location, and they've clad the whole thing in their Louis Vuitton fabric, well, the design. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Anne. That was absolutely fascinating. If you can stop sharing your screen, I'm going to ask everyone else to turn on their cameras and their microphones. And let's talk about what was the most impressive part of everything that we saw. And maybe we start with Mpume. Tell me what you loved most of all.
What I loved, Howard, is that the work was done by humans. It wasn't done by machines. It wasn't done by AI. It is, that's the power of human creativity, the power of brain, power of imagination, and that's the work that works. So that's what I loved about Anne's presentation. Thanks, Anne.
Pleasure, Pooms.
And Malu, what resonated most with you? Which of the ads or which of the campaigns found a home in your soul?
I think most of them, but there was the first one that Anne presented. This was the domestic violence one. Also because I think of an issue of just like the context of South Africa, because this is something that could easily be done here in SA, right? And when brands can just do such amazing, impactful, and real solutions to problems that everybody can face, for me, that is the true test of creativity and the power that we have as brand leaders, whether it's creators or marketers, is you can tackle like massive issues like that with an idea. And that's, for me, I absolutely love that idea.
And in previous presentations that you've done, there've been a lot more social justice type ads than is that because we've seen a waning of that, or is that just in the choices that you made for this year?
I'm really pleased you asked that. So, purpose used to be the biggest thing for years. And then people got wise on it, because what brands were doing, they weren't really delivering real purpose, because that has to be integrated into the brand. There was greenwashing it. And so purpose lost its shine. And for the last 2 years, there's been hardly any purpose-driven ads. This year, there were some, like AXA, but they were all about doing good for people. It wasn't about NGOs. It wasn't about just charities, because that's what happened in the past. And it just became a platform that people abused. So there was purpose, but much more related to the brand and consumers.
Ronald, if I can ask you, a lot of the things that we've seen tonight have been campaigns, but we haven't seen an actual one piece of work or a single advert that seems to have, and there were exceptions, of course. There were things like the KFC, maybe the Uber Eats, that was a very effective one-off advert. But
Right.
this isn't so much about adverts, it's about campaigns. Are we losing the shine of kind of the one-off advert as the flagship for a campaign?
Well, I think also it's the way we look at the way we digest and receive advertising now. It's not like it was where it was a one-off and you watched something and there it was and then you had that. Now that there's so many platforms and media is so fragmented and you're all over through, you have to think of ideas in terms of like the bigger stage where everything's going to have to be shown everywhere. So it's not really about the one-off anymore. And I'm sure that Uber Eats too had many variations across every platform of that. So yeah, I think the one-off ad spot is, I would say, is kind of over those days.
Absolutely.
And to our panel, have we in fact seen social media change all of this? You don't have to flight stuff on television anymore. You need to be on Twitter and you need to be on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. Has this changed the way we're actually producing ads? Is this changing the way how much money we're pumping into production? Mpumi, I see you nodding. Tell me what you think.
No, so I'm quite fascinated by media spend versus production spend. And about a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to check how much has changed in terms of advertising that's been placed on television and on social media. And 50% now of the media spend is spent on social media, believe it or not. So South Africa spends about 42 billion rands in media, and 50% of that is on social media. But that doesn't mean that we need to lose the production values, because that is where the magic lies. If you put a terrible piece of work against a big media spend, it means you have done nothing. You've actually wasted that money. So production values are very important despite the media channel.
So one of the key takeaways of Ann's input is the fact that social media influencers have become crucial.
Yeah.
Now she continuously corrects me because I mention names that make her cringe, of the famous celebrity social media influencers, and Ann says, you get that wrong. No one's interested in Kim Kardashian. She's not an authentic person who's going to decide what makeup I'm going to wear.
She's not going to appeal to the Gen Z in terms of real authenticity. It's changed. She used to, but not anymore. That's what I'm saying.
So, Mpumi, tell me, in South Africa, who are the people that we're listening to? Who are the rising social media stars? Who are these influencers? And are we seeing that same effect in South Africa?
My goodness, Howard. I'd say, well, I'll reference one of the days where I used to be, we used to work on Revlon. It's a beauty brand, and we did use influencers quite a lot. Who are those influencers? My goodness, they vary. I don't even want to mention names, but I don't be shy. We used to use her quite a lot in the beauty space. But yeah, they varied, but it's not Kim Kardashian.
Are these the teenage girls who are putting on makeup in front of the camera, and that's who other teenage girls are relating to? I mean, I know if I see someone standing in front of a car, that probably has very little impact on me. But the sort of influencers that do impact me, for example, are the travel influencers. I'm following their trips to Bhutan and to Bangladesh, and like they're the influencers who appeal to me. But within the South African context, are we seeing this exact same thing, that we don't have to have a Boiti because she's a
Yeah.
celebrity. It's the micro influencers that have become more important.
Right. So they in social influencer marketing, they talk about macro influencers, micro influencers, nano influencers. So it depends really on the scale of influencers you want to use and the type, I suppose, the type of followers that they have. So they categorize them in that regard.
So Malu, who do you look to for your fashion sense?
Mostly you, Howie.
I can show you. I'll show you what I'm wearing.
That's not the box. You see, this is.
I want that.
No, but like just to tap on that, like on terms of like influencers and who people are looking to and looking at, I think Anne touched on this quite a bit earlier on. There's a shift towards community marketing versus one person. So the time where one person had a voice to tell us all what to do, I think that's changing. Right now, it's a matter of like, we're all the same, we're all equal, and we all belong to a certain community, and this is what we're doing. And sometimes you come across those kind of people, and brands then plug onto those individuals. And I think the days of brands stealing from communities and influencers, those days are gone. Now it's more about brands, more than anything, embracing and spotlighting those influencers. So putting somebody's face on a billboard or a campaign, and then you think that works, that's done. Right now, it's all about, does your story really connect to my story? And it doesn't matter where you're from. Like there's some people on TikTok that have got 1 million followers. I'm like, who are you? Like, where do you come from? And just their stories connect better than their popularity. And that's what people are looking for these days, connection versus anything.
So I read a really interesting article, and I think I passed it on to Howard and to Ronald last night, where TikTok is becoming the new marketplace, where people actually, and particularly young people, so it wouldn't be somebody like me, people are actually buying products because of TikTok and through TikTok. And that's where communities and these micro influencers have such an appeal, because they are persuading younger people to buy the product through their campaign, their ad that they do for a particular brand. And that is what's influencing sales a lot more than just the traditional going into a store.
Of course, I'm morally obliged to say, and of course you are the TikTok generation. Now, I asked each of you to provide a few pieces of work, things that you've loved or things that you've been involved with. And we're going to start with yours. Do you want to kind of key up for us what you've asked me to show tonight?
Yes. So I shared a campaign, a radio campaign. That is one of 2 campaigns actually that converted in Cannes. It's a piece of work from Joe Public, the agency where I work. I'm the joint managing director. But that's not only why I love it. So the jury at Cannes said they awarded work that had superior oral storytelling and work that elevated audio as a medium. So I love this campaign simply because in its audio format, it's also visual. As one listens to it, one can visualize what one's listening to, you know? And also what I especially love about this campaign is that as most brands are chasing youth culture, this campaign actually proudly rejects it. It's for older people over 30s. It's funny and it's written to make even younger people laugh. So that's the reason why I wanted to share the campaign tonight.
And the other one is a Kit Kat ad. Tell us a little about that.
Yes. So the Kit Kat ad won a Grand Prix in outdoor. And the work, in my mind, is originally and pure outdoor. It's not a digital piece of work or print work that's been translated into outdoor. I love the fact that it's an idea that represents the moments that we're in. It's a culture force. You'll see, it's subversive. It's not trying too hard. It's correct for our time. And Anne mentioned the power of brand consistency and repetition, building the memory bank. You will see in the campaign that they didn't need to have a big slogan or a big logo. It's because of the work that they've put in through brand consistency over 65 years. And that's why I love that campaign.
Great. Let's watch both of those campaigns right now. Absolutely love that. Here are 3 of the radio spots.
If you say what's Gucci, my savage, instead of just saying hi, there's a beer for you. If your career plan is to make it big in cryptocurrency, instead of getting a job, there's a beer for you. If you wear glasses, but can see perfectly without them, there's a beer for you. If you rock up at the club in a bulletproof vest over your clothes instead of a normal vest under them, there's a beer for you. If your favorite genre of music is vibes, there's a beer for you. If you don't wear Crocs for comfort, but you wear them for how many of those plastic animals you can stick on them, there's a beer for you. It's just not a Hansa Pilsner. Sorry, gents. We're brewed for a man with a little more life experience. Hey, but you'll get there someday. Hansa Pilsner, not for persons under the age of 30. If you say what's Gucci, my savage, instead of just saying hi.
Sorry, let's get on to the second one.
If you've ever referred to yourself as a brand, there's a beer for you. If your clothing size is 3 sizes bigger than your actual clothing size, there's a beer for you. If the hardest challenge you've ever faced in your life is on TikTok, there's a beer for you. If you've ever said, "Okay," instead of "okay," there's a beer for you. If you love shopping at vintage stores, but not second-hand stores, there's a beer for you. If you have enough time in the morning to watch videos of other people getting ready while you're getting ready, there's a beer for you. It's just not a Hansa Pilsner. Sorry, Melaiti. We're brewed for a man with a little more life experience. Hey, but you'll get there someday. Hansa Pilsner, not for persons under the age of 30. If you say spill the tea when there's no tea in sight, there's a beer for you. If you watch 3-hour videos of people playing a computer game instead of playing the game yourself, there's a beer for you. If you call an outfit a combo that's communicating, there's a beer for you. If you stand in long queues to be in a VIP lounge when you can be a VIP in your lounge, there's a beer for you. If you buy expensive sneakers but never wear them, there's a beer for you. Also, what are those? If you can't fall asleep without listening to a video of someone speaking like this, there's a beer for you. It's just not a Hansa Pilsner, Hardema Benten. We're brewed for a man with a little more life experience. Hey, but you'll get there someday. Hansa Pilsner, not for persons under the age of 30. If you say spill the tea when there's
if you wear glasses that you can see perfectly without them. Mpume, I absolutely love that. You're telling people you don't want them as your customer. It's a very brave ad.
Thank you.
It's just so great to see radio creativity at that level. I mean, radio you don't see as much today.
Yeah, and the shame is that South Africa, was the best radio market in the world. We Grand Prix and gold, and the last 2 years, last year we won nothing. This year, JRLive won bronze. I think they deserve gold for that. But yeah, we've really fallen out of that category badly.
And of course, Mpume, I hope people notice that's not for sale to people under the age of 18. It's not for sale to people under the age of 30. We want adults drinking our beer, not kids.
And can I just ask, and this may be opening up a whole can of worms, but do you think Cannes goes through years where they favor different countries, because I know this year there was so much attention to Brazilian creativity and that was so celebrated. Do you think that there's something in that where there's waves of different popularity toward different places? Because you talk about South Africa dropping out and dropping off and not performing like they usually do. Why? What?
I don't know. It's interesting asking that, because Brazil has been flavor of the month for the last 3 years. They really are. They were the creative country of the festival again. I don't know. It's interesting. I think that there was some work that was entered into Cannes by South Africa that really deserved to be awarded. I mean, JRLive's Chicken Licken work is magnificent, and it translates anywhere in the world. And I don't know. It's a very hard question to answer, and the answer is I don't know.
I think, Ronald, that's a very good question, because I've worked with some of the Brazilians, some of the Argentinians, and obviously South Africans around the world. But I just think the Brazilians are intentional about Cannes. They that is their World Cup. It's not like they wake up one day and say, this is what we're going to enter. Everything, strategy, what category, it's what they live and breathe. And so when you do that, you probably are going to win.
Melusi, you are so right. And the other thing that they do, that the creative circle needs to do, is they all back each other, the South Americans. Yeah. They're all backing each other. They're not going against each other in the jury rooms. Yeah. And they also produce the most amazing case studies. Case studies, 50% of winning. And we don't do great case studies mainly because we don't have the money to do case studies. But you're right, Brazil, they are completely and utterly intentional. It's a complete mission for them. You're 100% right. Yeah.
So, Ron, we're now going to move on to your two works that you submitted. Tell us what we're going to watch.
Howard, there were a lot. I know there were a lot of pieces.
Okay, shall we play them and then you'll talk about them?
Yeah, exactly. Do you have them? Yeah, you do. Great.
My Bad Bunny frenzy is alive.
The Puerto Rican powerhouse is taking the world by storm.
There's a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Debí tirar más fotos de cuando te tuve. Debí darte más besos y abrazos las veces que pude. Ey, ojalá que los míos nunca se muden. Y si hoy me emborracho, pues que me ayuden. Debí tirar más fotos de cuando te tuve. Debí darte más besos y abrazos.
Bad Bunny está zumbado de la cabeza. These coordinates have to mean something.
Benito, ¿qué son estos coordinates?
Muy verwurzelt mit Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Como Bad Bunny va a ser rey del pop, ey, con reggaeton y dembow, ey, con reggaeton y dembow, sí.
I need you guys to help me out here.
Que para mí suena muy como una canción de Bad Bunny. Voy a llevarte pa' PR.
Voy a llevarte pa' PR, mami, pa' que veas cómo es que se perrea. Tráete a tu amiga si te gusta la idea. Dile que esta noche vamos a janguear. Tan chulería.
Benito is a genius.
Let the Puerto Ricans have their moment because it's so beautiful.
De PR para el mundo. Gracias por el amor.
So
Yeah,
let me just say, say if you are watching that and there's a glitch somewhere along, you know that YouTube has in fact banned us for copyright because of the playing of that song. But we'll see what happens.
Okay, so I mean, when I watched that, I'm moved. I think when I first saw it, I maybe had a big lump in my throat and I wanted to cry because it so moved me. Because he was doing something so amazing. I mean, he's the biggest pop star in the world, and he brought it home, and there was this authenticity. And it wasn't about just selling an album, it was about bringing attention to his culture and his people, and he did it in the most beautiful and innovative way, using it was a convergence of everything, technology and social media and music and entertainment. It was a campaign that brought everything together in one place for me and seamlessly pulled it off. Just the execution's brilliant. The idea's brilliant. So I think that should have won more than it did win.
What did it win?
I think it got shortlisted at Titanium, but it didn't win. I think it lost to Vaseline. As much as I love Vaseline. I love that but I guess, that comes out of Apple, so Tor did win Market of the Year.
Yeah.
So Ronald, you submitted another one. I want to show it quickly because I think it's also a fantastic ad to show.
When it comes to corporate boardrooms, it's hard to tell the difference between 1954 and 2024. 73% male and 88% white. But despite the status quo, one company continued to say, no elfing way. Of about 4,100 publicly traded companies in the US, ELF was the only one with a board that's 78% women and 44% diverse. And with 22 consecutive quarters of growth, we believe diversity was more than the right thing to do, it was the profitable thing to do. We needed to change the board game. But how? First, we built a new database of over 35,000 board members. Then we crunched the numbers and the names.
When we went through our data, one thing that was staring us right in the face was, wow, there's a lot of dick in here.
Yep, so many dicks. Turns out, there aren't just more men on corporate boards. There are more men named Dick, just Dick, than entire groups of underrepresented people. While it's okay to be a dick, boardrooms need more of everyone else. So, we took our discovery to the capital of capitalism. So Many Dicks became one of the most viral campaigns of the year, generating buzz from the boardroom table to the dinner table.
I'm really glad to see one of my favorite brands doing cool shit like this.
I'm a dick, and I approve this message.
Dick to female power gap is 34%.
That's wild.
So Many Dicks didn't just spark needed conversation, it sparked needed change. Our ongoing partnership with the NACD has already led to successful placements on boards. And our Not So White paper linked diversity to profitability for the first time ever. So Many Dicks launched a movement that's just beginning, with over 40 partners joining our mission to change the board game.
I wish I could tell you that this was hard. It wasn't. All it took was intentionality and putting that intentionality in action, and that's all we're trying to encourage other companies to do.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, this is so smart. I mean, it's a cosmetics company, and you don't see a single lipstick in that. It's such a great brand building idea. Again, it's a data-driven idea that that just, again, tech is involved, but also the way they executed that, and it became sort of part of the conversation, a cultural conversation. That it's just such a very, very powerful idea, well executed. Also, I'm sorry it didn't win as much as it could have or should have. It was shortlisted again for Titanium, I believe.
I don't understand how it didn't win, hey, because I went to Cannes this year, and the pillars at the Lumiere Auditorium were full of this campaign. It was so engaging. So yeah, it's bizarre that it didn't convert. It's magnificent.
All along the Quasset. I mean, it's just, and I think Elf listed on the New York Stock Exchange 2 days ago, with what's her name, Justin Bieber, Hailey Bieber. I think she's involved with it, but it is amazing. I mean, it should have won.
It's a great piece, but I also think there's reasons why some pieces. So, for example, Titanium. I think I'm Worth It won Titanium. Am I wrong, Anne?
Say that again.
I'm Worth It, the campaign. Did that win Titanium?
Titanium, it may have been shortlisted. AXA was the one Titanium.
Titanium. So sometimes it's about who you're up against. Like you put this in another year, probably is going to destroy and win. But you put it against something like an AXA,
could never win again.
It's tough. It's tough. And those are sometimes the hard draws you get as a creative. You're like, I wish I entered this a year before, a year later. And you just,
It should have got gold or even Grand Prix and out of home.
And out of home, yeah, definitely.
This is an out of home campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brilliant.
Melusi, when I asked you for your work, and I said, why don't we throw in a Super Bowl ad? How many South Africans have ever had Super Bowl ads?
Ronald, do you have the data? I don't know. I don't have the data.
I have one Super Bowl.
Okay, Ronald's got one.
Okay, so there may be two of you.
Yeah, there may be two of us.
I'm sure there may be more, but it's always a thrill.
Always a thrill.
So Melu, tell us what we're going to see. We're going to show your two ads.
Awesome. So what you're going to see is, so just quick context in terms of like the first one, the Super Bowl. I don't know which one you're playing first. The Super Bowl one.
Yeah, Super Bowl first, soccer second.
Okay, awesome. So when I arrived in Miami, so I moved to Miami to go to this agency called David, which we worked closely with Fernando Machado, Burger King. We did a lot of Burger King work, but it just happened by chance. I don't know how, where, or why. I arrived at the same time that they were briefing in Super Bowl for that year, right? And this was one of the first pieces of writing or work that I created. I've always dreamt of making a Super Bowl commercial. So here comes this kid from South Africa, this black kid. He's from Soweto in Nkandla. Howard loves my Nkandla story. And you go to America and you have to make a Super Bowl commercial for Budweiser, right? Middle America, like completely opposite to where we have grown up or interactions that I've had. It was one of the first few times that I realized that big ideas translate. It's all about experiences and what we've experienced. So this spot is called Typical Americans. Just based off, I've never been to live in the States, but I've always known that like this thing about, oh, flip, typical Americans. Everybody calls Americans typical. But once you actually uncover and you dig deep, there are people that are far from typical in this nation that everybody is calling so typical, that you could actually create a wonderful, wonderful piece. I remember the presentation, the first slide to the client was a tweet that said, Budweiser tastes like piss. What a typical beer, right? And that was the honest truth. And the client, Marcelo was like, that actually is true. But then when we say it is, the beer is so far from typical because of what it goes through, and people don't know that. And maybe that's where we need to start, right? And so when somebody labels you something, they're only looking at it from the surface. And so what we need to show people and tell people is the first label they give you is sometimes not the actual label. And so a typical American was born.
Let's watch.
Typical Americans. Maybe because we live typical American lives. Like this typical American, showing off his strength. So typical. Look at him, touching other people's things. Always so competitive. Typical Americans, showing up uninvited. Removing their clothes in public. Yelling and being loud. Just look at them, thinking they can save the world. Typical Americans, always celebrating with their typical American beer. So, next time someone labels you typical, show them what typical can do.
Melusi, that's beautiful.
Amazing.
When was it on the Super Bowl?
Oh, thank you, Anne. It was 2019. It was actually during the Black Lives Matter stuff. There was like so much tension during that time, and Budweiser wanted to create something that brought everybody together. If there's something about South Africans, we know adversity, And so this was such an easy brief for me. Where everybody else was like, "Oh, where do we start?" Yeah. So it was one of my first Super Bowl commercials.
How many have you had?
2 now.
Oh, wow, Melusi.
So, Melu, tell us about the second one we're going to be watching. It's a soccer-related one.
The second one I love because of the media, right? We speak a lot about South Africa versus what other creatives are doing, whether it's Mexico, Colombia, and I think sometimes we just get beat on ideas, and it's not about production, it's not about budget or big, but sometimes it's just about smart ideas. What I love about this creative piece of work is, as a creative, sometimes you just want to create work where you can see people enjoying your idea in real time, right? And this does that. It's like when you are a comedian or you're a musician, there's something about real time enjoyment of your idea that just like makes it so special, right? And also it just became a new use of media, which is really, really great. So I really love this idea, and the PSL could have done it. And that's an example of a great idea. You could have even done it here.
Cool. Let's watch.
Colombian players are extraordinary, and our goals are celebrated all over the world. Except, well, in Colombia.
Lo que se acaba de devorar. No te lo puedo creer.
Qué triste es malo.
As the iconic sponsor of football in Colombia, we had to bring joy back home. Águila presents Unofficial Goals. With an astonishing average of 16.8 missed goals per game, we saw an opportunity to make it up to the fans, turning a boring and static media into the most fun of all. We created goal-shaped mats that had motion sensors and placed them next to the goalposts. This way, every time a player missed a goal here, fans scored a beer here. Because every unofficial goal unlocked a real-time promotion, redeemable at stadiums, during TV and radio broadcasts,
Por eso nosotros gritamos hasta los goles no oficiales.
at sports bars, and of course, through e-commerce. Match after match, Unofficial Goals broke sales records, a unique experience that turned boring games into the most exciting ones.
Ponen al lado 2 arcos. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 arcos. Es que son 6 arcos. Y por cada gol no oficial va a haber un 10% de descuento para que pida su frita, cerveza.
A simple idea that is bringing joy and interest back to Colombian football.
Águila instaló 4 arcos para convertir los goles fallidos en descuentos de cerveza Águila.
Increíble, los goles no oficiales nos dicen que la tabla es otra.
But it's the league that celebrates the most thanks to Unofficial Goals.
Unofficial Goals, bringing joy back to Colombian football, one beer at a time.
So good, so simple. Yeah, I love how you can be a brand that says, why would I sponsor a league that there's no goals, right? So instead of taking that as your problem and saying, no, man, this league is not exciting, you bring something else that makes it exciting. And yeah, even the media is just brilliant. I love that work.
So, Anne thinks that I do these webinars with her every year because I love her, which is true. But the real reason why I do it is because I also get to show 2 ads that I love so much. And not coming out of your industry, I think sometimes there are things that appeal to me as a layperson that maybe don't always appeal to everyone. So I'm going to show you the 2 pieces that I absolutely adore.
Great.
Okay.
And Annie's very nervous.
No, I'm excited.
If they could out. Sportswear is the biggest hype right now. So people would do anything to get items, which leads our store to sell out in minutes. But most of them only wear them to do that, instead of doing this. As a running store first, we wanted to bring sport back into sportswear. So on the 13th of September, we decided to drop an exclusive access. Distance presents Rob It to Get It. For one day, we made our most wanted items available for free. The only thing you had to do was rob them. Oh, wait, there was just one condition: to run faster than the security guard we especially hired. That way, only the true runners could get them. After more than 100 attempts, only 2 people managed to get away. But then, things got out of control.
A running store in Paris allowed customers to steal shoes.
Un bon coup marketing pour promouvoir le sport.
And last but not least,
Michael Johnson, l'extraterrestre.
all this for the price of only 2 pairs of shoes. Yes, it definitely was a robbery.
Wonderful, Howie. It's amazing. I've seen it before. Amazing.
I love it.
So good.
I'm not sure we should be promoting theft and robbery, but the thing that shocks me most of all about that is, in fact, there were two people who outran the fastest runner in France.
Yeah.
And those two people, was it number 98 and 99? Because maybe was tied.
So the last piece that I want to show this evening before we wrap up is actually a relatively old piece, but I think it's just such a clever way of communicating a brand, and not just, but the quality of the brand. And that's why this really actually appeals to me as a piece.
When you're with me, what do you feel? Will you tell me even if I won't tell you?
Laissez-vous surprendre par une expérience télé unique, avec l'ultra haute définition et le plus riche catalogue 4K seulement chez SFR.
Gorgeous.
Was allowed to show one with a celebrity, eh?
Listen, Ronaldo at that age, looking like that, you're allowed to show him as much as you want.
Well, I actually worked with Cristiano Ronaldo because he does everything, and he doesn't say no to. If you call and say, "Would you like to endorse the brand?" he says, "How much?" And
that's a true influencer.
The original influencer, right? And the most valuable. Like, he's earned more money in sport than anyone in the world.
Yeah.
So Ronald, what did you do with Ronaldo?
A dandruff hair shampoo commercial. I mean, he doesn't say no to anything. Yeah. I mean, clear shampoo, clear. Yeah. We had to go and shoot it in Manchester.
So
experience.
That run.
Yeah.
So in order to wrap up our panel for this evening, and we've been going now for 2 hours, so forgive me all for having wrecked your Sunday night. But thank you. I think it's been such a great insight into the world of sales, of marketing, of advertising. And more importantly, we can't get away from the fact that marketing is also entertainment. Yeah. And if we're not entertaining people out there, they're just going to flip over to the next ad. And so it's been just so valuable. And as people, I see Wendy saying, wow, no words necessary. This has been amazing. And people are going to be leaving comments for us now, because I think the insights that you've given tonight have really brought great value to everyone watching. But as we close out, I want to give all the panelists one opportunity, ending with Anne. And that is, when we meet again in a year's time and we look back and say, this was the year of 2025, 2026, and this is how things changed. What are your predictions going to be for the year that we would be looking back on in 1 year's time? Ronald, can I start with you?
I predict we're going to have a Cannes entry for best use of AI in some form or another. Best use of copywriting in AI. Cannes love to create categories to make money, and it's just now a thing. I mean, and we're going to have to embrace it. And so it's just a prediction. Let's see. I hope not. I don't know. I mean, maybe.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mhlungu?
Oh, that's a tough one. Because as a creative, if I can predict it, that means we were being lazy, right? So I know like AI is the big talk right now, but I think maybe there's going to be less. I'm going the other direction.
Okay, great.
I think less. I'm going less AI.
All right. Yes.
Cool. And Mpume?
I'm gonna be in the middle. I think the winners will be those that actually use AI as co-intelligence merging human superpower and AI. That's thinking.
Middle.
So Anne, you're not allowed to be on the fence at all. But the last word of the evening goes to you.
I'm not on the fence, but I don't think I could have said it better than Mpume. For me, it's about humanity and the human touch, but it's humans and AI. You cannot live in this world today and not work with AI. And the people who are going to lose their jobs are people who don't know how to work with AI. And that's the bottom line. So for me, I just hope next year we're going to look at campaigns from Cannes and completely in our world, and we still see that spark of humanity, that the human touch is still going to make a difference. Of course, there's going to be AI everywhere. But when Melusi said a little bit less than more, Melusi, I'm so with you. And, please, God, please, creativity needs humans, not just machines. So Howie, it's the title next year could be humans and machines, because it's not one or the other.
Well, humans and humans.
Yeah, or it's all about humanity. Maybe that's our title next year. With that, I want to thank to all the humans who watched us this evening, whether you've been on Zoom or YouTube or Facebook or any of the other platforms that you've watched us on. I want to thank you for spending your Sunday night with us and for allowing us to share some of our views and our insights with all of you. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. We, in fact, have General Ronald, the head of the Jewish Agency for Israel, on the eve of the Jewish New Year, Erev Rosh Hashanah. He'll be telling us some remarkable stories. He was the first soldier on the ground at the rescue at Entebbe in Uganda, where they rescued the hostages in Uganda. He was involved in the rescue of Ethiopian Jewry taken from starvation to Israel. He's head of the Jewish Agency. He's been involved in autism work and one of the most remarkable, inspiring individuals you will ever meet. We'll be back with him in 2 weeks' time. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Good night, all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Bye.